What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Venari Effect. Today we're going to be talking food plots, and specifically the food plots that we hunt and have planted on our dad's land here in central Ohio. So right now I'm standing over, it's basically a micro clover plot that we planted 3 years ago. We planted it in the spring, so I would have been 17, and it's done really well for us over the years. We've killed a couple of bucks in this food plot. As you can see behind me, we have a ground blind that we hunt out of. There's not a lot of good trees to hunt out of in this area. It's basically surrounded by pine trees. It's an old pine grove. So the ground blind has been the option, and it sets up pretty well for any west wind. The deer come from the west heading east, so any westerly wind tends to be a good time to hunt this spot, and that's the prevailing wind here. So it's a Heartland Wildlife Institute clover blend, and we had some trouble with weeds coming up. We've kind of got those a little bit under control just through mowing, and we sprayed last year. So we'll probably replant this, I assume, in clover again next year, but so far it's been great for us. Like I said, we've had some success, and we're looking forward to hunting it again this fall and winter. Over here to my right, we have another food plot that we're going to head to next. We'll talk about it there, but check out this drone shot and you'll get a better aerial view of what's going on here. So as you can see, it was a really short walk from the first food plot over here to the second one. They're probably less than 50 yards away from one another. And that's just kind of what cards we were dealt. Both of these areas were just kind of overgrown, multiflora rows, native grasses. So it was really easy for us to come in, bush hog those areas, take a chainsaw and get these planted. So this clover plot is a Whitetail Institute clover blend, and we planted this, unlike food plot A, we planted this one in the fall, which we actually prefer now that we've seen both. The weed competition and the weed growth in this food plot is way less, almost non-existent compared to food plot A. And I think that's partly because when you plant that close to colder weather, so in the fall when a frost is coming and, like I said, winter's right around the corner, those weeds don't have as much time to kind of get up and smother out that clover. So it's kind of flip-flop. The clover was able to choke out the weeds, and it's been great and lush ever since. So over my shoulder here, we have a double set in a giant pine tree. It's a really cool and fun spot to hunt because you're super concealed. The deer never pick you off. The wind does swirl over here a little bit as well, like I mentioned with food plot A. So we've had some problems with that, but it's still, like I said, a really cool spot to hunt. And then additionally, we planted 3 apple trees over here to my right this past year. We got some apple trees for our dad's birthday, and we have them fenced in right now just in hopes to kind of keep the deer away from them while they're in their early stages of growth. But over the next few years, we're really going to hone in on this spot, and I think it's going to be kind of a honey hole for these deer. So we'll go check out the clover a little bit better now. I'll show you what I'm talking about as far as the lack of weeds. So follow me over there. So I don't know if the video will do it justice, but you can just look in here. I mean, there is hardly any weeds. And again, that's just my theory. I don't know if the soil's better over here or what the situation was, but I think planting it in the fall, if you can, is beneficial. But a lot of palatable food, clover, greens in here, obviously lasts all year long. Oddly enough, we don't see them hit this as much in the early season as we do later in the year. I think it's probably just due to the fact we have a lot of ag fields around here, bean fields that are green right now, corn fields. So, but once those crops come off, the deer that we've killed here have all been November or later, 1 or 2 in December. So just, again, a really fun spot to hunt. And if you have the ability on private land or permission granted land to put in these little micro food plots, it's just a lot of fun to see that land develop, know it's a product of, you know, your hard work and your labor, and if you kill a deer over it, it's just icing on the cake. But hoping to kill a buck over this. And if you have any questions about what we planted, when we planted, how we hunted, what winds we hunt them on, obviously drop us a comment, shoot us a question, and if you can, like and subscribe this video. Thank you guys for watching. What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining us on another step out. We usually hunt this with a westerly wind, and a lot of the deer come from the east.
You need to redo that too, because a west wind is good for deer coming from the west.
Yeah, after I said that, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah. They're coming from the west going east. Is that right?